Hi, this is Devin Hughes and Ellie, around 10, interviewing Linda Schaefer. From?
I'm from Los Angeles, California. I was born there in 1949.
What made you decide to move to Oregon?
It was early 1970s, and I had graduated from college and was really sick of LA and wanted to leave LA, and so hitchhiked to Oregon. And liked it here, went back to LA, opened a store, made money, bought a farm, moved back. So that's the small answer. Anyway, we bought this farm and got here, and it was vastly different than what we thought we were getting. And we built a kiln. I mean, we made the bricks and built the kiln. And it was sort of like this.
Oh.
And it was wood-fired, and it was a lot of work. I appreciate those memories. I appreciate those times. But socially, living with someone who I wasn't married to, living with another couple who were married, the woman of whom was having an affair with the man I was living with, I mean, it was not a good or healthy situation. And in those days, it was common to think that an open sexual relationship was A-okay.
What do you call one of your most cherished or remembered memories of living on the farm with those people?
Leaving became the best part of that.
Yeah.
So I moved into a tent and was homeless for a while.
Here?
Mm-hmm.
In Eugene?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was out of town.
Yeah.
But I had friends who did the Saturday market with me. And so I moved here, I had no friends. And I became friends with people at the market. And when my life disintegrated, those people became the anchors that helped me with that situation.
After that, did that influence your art in a different way? Or was your art pretty much the...
My art pretty much stayed, my work stayed the same because I was a production potter, and that's what sold. After I had children, after the 80s, and went back to it in 89, my work changed because I no longer had to make a living. I had a husband who made a living. So then I could play, not just produce.
Yeah. So did you play with your art a little bit after that and make it different? You changed it?
Yeah, in the 80s when I went back to it, I no longer sat at a wheel for hours on end. I could play with flat clay, and I could play with clay differently.
Would you have still, looking back, would you have still done it if it was with different people? Or maybe by yourself and one other person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still think Oregon's a great place. I'm still here. And I never did live out of town. I'd live in the middle of town. I still think I'd like to live out of town, but now I'm getting to the place where living out of town doesn't seem very practical. In our situation, what we were doing wouldn't have been possible without at least 4 people, which is what we had, because we were firing a wood kiln, which takes 18 to 20 hours of splitting wood the whole time, making our own clay. So we had a production assembly sort of situation, which meant that every person had a function, and it worked best to have everybody on board with that.
Previously, you referred to yourself as a hippie or whatever. What does that mean to you to be a child of the 60s and 70s?
Good question. It means that I didn't follow the lifestyle that my parents might have wanted me to, or what their lifestyle looked like. I didn't leave high school in 1967 looking like this and become a secretary. I left and I worked in a bakery. I had a union job which you guys can't look forward to, unfortunately, with a high school diploma. You could get a job that would pay you, that you could move out, and you'd have health insurance. What a concept. So I did that part, but then I wound up going to a Quaker college, being part of the peace movement. My father and I had raucous arguments about that. And I began to just go more and more into the politics of the left and against the war. So there are many elements of what a hippie is. There was a drug stream that some people consider hippiness. There was an anti-war stream of hippiness in LA that also did social justice sorts of things, like feeding people, having love-ins, and definitely smoking grass. That was still not completely bonzo, always stoned. So, and out of that, a crafts movement began. So I was more part of the anti-war crafts movement than I was the drug, never do any work. That's really, I think, a fallacy that some people today think hippies didn't. They were just like lowlifes. So, to me, it means counterculture. Someone who, when we did the Saturday market, I mean, now the Saturday market is embraced. Well, then we had to fight with the county commissioners to exist.
Yeah.
I mean, have meetings with them and say, we are doing something good for this community, and we do want you to allow us to stay here. And I was chairman of the board for a while and got to go do that with people who later came to my wedding. So it can come around. A relationship, and he was into art, and so we took an adult ed class in Pasadena in pottery, and we opened a store about a year later. So no, it wasn't my field. I pretty much didn't think that I had anything to do with art or could ever have anything to do with art. But a lot of times what teachers tell you about what your abilities are is not necessarily the reality.